is up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you were new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we are in the brand new 2023 Genesis G70, courtesy of Genesis of York in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so we're in this one today because this is a very unique looking sedan. It really looks like nothing else on the road right now, which is always a very good thing. It comes with America's best warranty as well, being 5 years, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper, 10 years, 100,000 miles on the powertrain. You also get 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance as well, which is going to save you a little bit of money, at least up front there. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different configurations for the 2023 G70. You have the 2-liter rear-wheel drive configuration starting at $39,150. There is a Sport Prestige trim level for that one. That's going to start at $43,350. And then you have the 3.3-liter configuration. Rear-wheel drive starts at $49,650. Sport Advanced for that one, $48,950. And then the Sport Prestige, $53,350. That was all pricing for the rear-wheel drive. You can get all-wheel drive for any of those configurations. That is going to add $2,100 then to any of those prices. But so then, as you can imagine, by the trim levels at least, there are two different engine configurations for the 2023 G70. First one being a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, putting out 252 horsepower at 6,200 RPM, 260 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 1,400 RPM. Power center rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which we will be testing out here in a little bit. 0 to 60 time approximately 6.2 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 21 in the city, 31 on the highway for the rear wheel drive, 20 in the city, 28 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, taking premium unleaded fuel. And by the way, that is the engine configuration that we actually have here today. But so then there is that other one, which is a 3.3-liter twin turbo V6, putting out 365 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 376 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 1,300 RPM. Power center rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, 0 to 60 time 4.5 seconds. That's pretty darn impressive there, with MPG numbers coming in at 18 in the city, 27 on the highway for the rear wheel drive, 17 city, 25 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, taking premium unleaded fuel yet again. And so before we do any kind of fun paddle shifter or acceleration test here in the G70, I wanted to mention to you guys the drive modes. There's actually a circular dial located directly behind the shifter that will give you Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and Custom, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, steering sensitivity, suspension settings, all-wheel drive system engagement, the side bolsters on the seats, and the exhaust note. That is a ton of adjustments available for those driving modes. Typically you don't see that many, so that's kind of cool. But having now got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway here. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, and let's see how quickly they are going to react for us here. And it's not shifted for me. Sweet. Oh, now it did. All right, here we go. There's a slight delay, ever so slight delay. Honestly, it's not that bad. I've had worse reacting paddle shifters, but I don't know, for the engine configurations that you get on the G70, I wouldn't have minded if they were a bit quicker. I'll just put it that way. But then again, this isn't one of Genesis's or Hyundai's dual clutch transmissions, which quite honestly wouldn't be that bad in the G70, but there was a slight delay. I'll just put it that way. But anyways, now having got that out of the way, let's find yet another straightaway. Let's put the acceleration here to the test, and let's see if this thing really does feel like 60 in 6.2 seconds. All right, pulling up to a red light, and oh hey, it's a green light. Let's go. There it is. I feel like the engine sound is pumped into the cabin. It sounds nice. Wow, okay. Definitely not gonna have any issues emerging onto the highway. Having said that, the 3.3-liter twin turbo is insanely quick. This thing is pretty darn quick as well though. So either engine configuration that you go with, you are going to be perfectly fine. And like I said, the engine sound is being pumped into the cabin. Really the only constructive criticism without acceleration is there was a slight bit of turbo lag at the very get-go there, as you quite often will find in turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, unfortunately. But yeah, that'll definitely get the job done though. I'll just put it that way. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 13.8-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 13.4-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, it's going to come in at 109 feet. That is ridiculously impressive. And by the way, you will get Brembo brakes if you go with a 3.3 liter. So let's hit the brakes. Yeah, I knew it was going to be good because we're only going 10 miles per hour, but definitely a firm braking feel. I can tell that right off the bat from the get-go of my driving there. It's not a soft braking feel. At 109 feet, it's definitely a firm braking feel. That number alone will tell you the answer of how the braking is on this thing. Definitely better than the majority of other sports sedans out there that I've tested, because a lot of times it'll come in the 1-teens for that 60-0 stopping distance, even the 120s, let's say, for the Hyundai Sonata. So 109 feet is absolutely brilliant. So definitely not going to have any issues with the braking. But then touching on suspension and handling, you will find an independent strut type front suspension, independent multi-link rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. If you were to go with a 3.3 liter, you're actually going to get a sport tuned suspension, and it keeps getting better than that. There is a limited slip differential for the 3.3 liter Sport Prestige, and an electronically controlled suspension again for the 3.3 liter Sport Prestige as well, which essentially what that is it uses a camera system which kind of scans the road, adjusting to the road imperfections, giving you a smoother ride, in case you were curious about what that actually is. So it's kind of like Genesis's version of an adaptive damping suspension. So it kind of adjusts to the road imperfections, like I said. So that is definitely going to be your smoothest ride if you were going for that. But having said that, quite honestly, this ride really is quite nice. I will say that. And we don't have that electronically controlled suspension either. So definitely a plenty good ride quality here in the 2 liter Sport Prestige that we have with us here today. As far as steering feel goes, 100% definitely on the heavier side of things, but then again, it could be because I am still in that sport driving mode, so it does adjust the steering sensitivity. Let me go ahead and take it out, just see if that makes a difference. Actually, let's go eco. It's still actually a pretty heavy steering feel, so quite honestly, I like it. And I currently own a Hyundai Sonata. I will say the Sonata steering feel is 1,000 times more loosey-goosey than the G70 here, so I love this steering feel in the G70. Definitely on the heavier side of things, without a doubt. As far as cabin noise goes, it's actually been pretty darn good my entire test drive here today. And that's due in part because there is an acoustic laminated front windshield, and with absolutely any package option, you're also going to get acoustic laminated front side glass, which typically does not come standard even on other manufacturers out there. So go with one of the package options and you will get a very serene cabin here in the G70. I'll just put it that way. And touching on visibility, this is a perfectly shaped sedan, so you're not going to have any issues with rear visibility, so that is perfectly on point. Rain sensing windshield wipers actually come standard for all trim levels but the base G70. So essentially any package option, the windshield wipers are going to automatically turn on for you whenever it senses any kind of mist or rainfall. So it's kind of like automatic headlights. One last thing you got to worry about there. And there is going to be a head-up display with a 3.3 liter Sport Prestige, essentially projecting your speed limit, and safety features up onto your windshield. So that's going to assist with forward visibility there as well. But that about rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2023 Genesis G70. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2023 Genesis G70, finished in Victoria Black, in case anybody was curious of our exterior color name. But let's go ahead and start up front on this one. Of course, you have that large shield-shaped front grille, which essentially replicates the Genesis logo, or at least the middle portion of the Genesis logo just above it. So that is pretty cool. Of course, you got that adaptive cruise control sensor built into that front grille as well. You guys can see that it is almost unrecognizable from a distance. You can clearly see it when you're up close, but it's definitely a nice place to put it in. It is integrated quite well into that. To the sides, LED quad beam headlights do come standard. They come with the automatic feature, of course, as well, meaning when it starts to get dark out at night, those headlights will turn on automatically for you there. Automatic high beams also coming standard though, meaning if you have your high beams on at night and the sense of the vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim those high beams back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically then bump it back up to high beams. So definitely a safety feature there in itself. LED daytime running lights, of course, coming standard. And of course, if you get down below there to the corners, you will find front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination there. But one of my favorite parts, if we move back up a little bit, is the creases around the Genesis logo continued then onto the hood. So it's definitely a very cool look, and I like seeing those hood creases when you're behind the wheel actually driving this thing as well. So that's pretty cool, but very unique, very identifiable look now. as a Genesis, in my personal opinion, especially up front. So I'm a huge fan of the design on this thing, but that pretty much rounds out the front. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the side of the G70. All right, and so but now since we are around to this side of this one, gloss black or dark chrome window surrounds do come standard. Then take a look at these front fenders. Let me actually get a little bit closer here for you guys. There is functional ventilation found on those front fenders, and actually all of it is functional from the top to the bottom. So little aerodynamic cue there. So I was a huge fan of that. Typically when you see something like this, is a lot of times not functional, but these vents actually are in the G70, so I was a big fan of that. Did take a look at the side mirrors. They are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with LED integrated turn signals. They are power folding, and it actually illuminates a Genesis logo onto the ground at night as well. All of that coming standard, so huge fan of that. Then taking a look down at the wheel configuration, 18-inch alloys coming with the 2-liter, 19-inch alloys then coming with all other configurations. And if you go with the Sport Prestige, at least on the 3.3-liter, they are going to be lightweight alloys. So I wanted to emphasize that as well. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile here. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back. So we're now making our way to the back, body colored shark fin antenna all the way to the top. As far as that rear trunklet goes, it's kind of an integrated rear spoiler. I guess you could say that. It looks pretty darn good back there. Of course, Genesis lettering spelled out horizontally. You got the all-wheel drive badging there to the right on the trunk lid there. Of course, you do have LED taillights coming standard across the board. Gotta love that. And depending upon which engine configuration that you go with, the exhaust setup is going to be slightly different. So for the 2-liter that we have today, you have a single exhaust outlet with dual chrome tips like you're currently looking at. But if you were to go with that 3.3-liter, you're going to get integrated dual oval exhaust outlets with chrome tips. So obviously that was actually the one I reviewed last year, so I'll leave a link to that video at the end of this one. But for this case, we got the 2-liter. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. So but now since we are around to the back of the G70, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there is a button on the key fob. There's kind of a button incorporated into the trunk itself. It's kind of hidden. That's a pretty cool way. And there is a button by the driver's side left knee then as well. And I should also mention it is a hands-free smart trunk across the board for every single configuration. So simply walk up to the back and wait a couple seconds and it's going to automatically then open up for you. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 10.5 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. There are tie-down anchors back there, LED cargo lighting, and there is some netted storage kind of found to the right back there, so that was pretty cool to see. And if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you'll find a little bit of in-floor storage, but mostly it is a spare tire that you're going to find underneath of there, which I personally prefer. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that comes in at 34.8 inches. So for reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. There is a rear center armrest with cup holders for those rear passengers, rear ventilation then as well. There is a USB charging port then just below that rear ventilation, so that was definitely very nice. Then making our way up to the front seats, 12-way power adjustable driver's seat with 4-way power lumbar coming standard. Leatherette surfaces is going to be the standard setup. However, heated front seats actually also come standard, I should say that. But leather seating comes with the 2-liter Sport Prestige like we have today with contrast red stitching and red seat belts. And I think that was my favorite part because it goes so good with the rest of the contrast stitching in this thing. But anyways, and you get leather seating with the 3.3-liter, of course, as well. But also with that 3.3-liter, you're going to get memory settings as well. So that is pretty cool for up to 2 different drivers there. Ventilated front seats coming with the 3.3-liter Sport Advanced and Sport Prestige as well. Nappa leather then coming with the Sport Prestige for the 3.3-liter. So overall, as far as seat comfort goes, it was plenty fine, honestly. So shouldn't have any issues there. But then take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is power adjustable for the 3.3-liter at least, and power adjustable for the 2-liter Sport Prestige that we have today. So that was very nice. Heated steering wheel then coming standard as well. And so heated steering wheel buttons going to be located just to the left of the climate control buttons just in front of the shifter there. And make our way to the startup. Let me show you guys the key here. You of course have lock, unlock, the button to pop the rear hatch, but there is also a remote start button that is going to come standard on this thing. And of course, keyless entry with a push button start, so therefore just leave the key in your pocket. And all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just to the left of the air vents there. And so once started up, speedometer is all the way to your left, tachometer is to your right, and there is a digital display kind of incorporated into that tachometer as well to adjust what is on that digital display. There are steering wheel mounted controls found on the right side of the steering wheel, giving you things like your tire pressure information, of course. There is also safety features up there, outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, and digital speedometer, the list goes on. So pretty much everything you could possibly want on the digital portion of the gauges there. Then making our way to overall interior quality, there is a wide sunroof that comes with any of the package options, just not the base configuration, of course. Overhead sunglass holder is going to come standard as well. There's going to be a suede headliner if you go with the 3.3 Sport Prestige trim level, aluminum trim accents throughout, including on the doors and above the passenger side glove box. Alloy foot pedals coming with the sport packages like you guys are currently looking at right now. Wireless phone charger with any of the package options, and that's going to be located just in front of the shifter there. And speaking of in front of the shifter, you have a 12-volt power outlet, another USB charging port there as well. Just to the right and behind the shifter, you're going to have dual cup holders, kind of with a cool texturized design surrounding it. Within the center armrest, a little bit of storage, not a whole lot, but there's also a USB charging port in there as well. And I like this silver kind of design just around the shifter as well. It's pretty cool. There is a little bit of black plastic to the right there, but overall, this is finished pretty darn nice. And there is also a home link control up to 3 different garage doors. I see that there as well. So that's always nice. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen. So the standard setup that comes for all trim levels, all configurations, is going to be a 10.25 inch color touchscreen display. And so that's going to come with Bluetooth and audio streaming, of course, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as well. Factory navigation system is going to come with that. There is a voice memo system, so you can record your voice and play it back at a later date. That is pretty cool. Climate control settings can be had up there as well, of course. Looks like they did away with the sounds of nature, unfortunately. They used to have that when they first came out with the G70 and a lot of the vehicles, but I think they did away with that, but I liked it. But anyways, can of course check out your radio information up there as well. And so when it comes to the sound system, 6 speakers is going to come standard, but with any package option, you're going to get the 15 speaker Lexicon sound system with 660 watts. So having said that, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Yeah, definitely a good bit of bass, plenty of clarity. I think 15 speakers in a vehicle of the size of the G70 is 100% overkill. I'm just gonna put it that way. So the clarity was 100% on point, bass was plenty fine as well. So that sound system is definitely where it's at for the G70. But last thing on the infotainment screen I wanted to mention to you guys is when you do put the G70 in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board, a very, very high definition rear view camera as well. One of the most high definition cameras I've seen in a while. But if you were to go with the Sport Prestige for the 3.3 liter, you're also going to get a surround view monitor, giving you that bird's eye view, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so let me first start with IIHS top safety pick plus, which is the very highest designation given by IIHS. So it is the very best safety you can possibly get there. Front side current airbags do come standard. Driver's knee airbag as well. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system. And that's pretty boring, but also standard adaptive cruise control with stop and go, which is a brilliant system on both Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia. Forward collision avoidance assist, highway driving assist, which is Genesis's level 2 autonomous driving system essentially. Lane keep assist, lane following assist, blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert, of course, safe exit warning and rear occupant alert. And then with any package option, you're also going to get front and rear parking sensors then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the G70, 3.3 liter twin turbo that I've tested before is crazy fast. But having said that, this engine configuration is plenty quick as well. So definitely got 2 very good options here in the G70. Excellent braking, 60 to 0 and 109 feet is among the best when it comes to sports sedans. I'll just put it that way. Excellent safety. Doesn't get better than an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. You get America's best warranty. As far as room for improvement goes, a full digital gauge cluster I would absolutely love seeing in the G70. I'm not sure why they would put it in my Hyundai Sonata, but then not put it in a G70, a much more upscale vehicle like this one, because it really does give you so much more customization when you adjust the drive modes, things like that, like they do in the G80, like they do in the GV70, and essentially every other vehicle that they currently make. Also, I think multicolor ambient lighting would look pretty darn good in this thing as well, like Mercedes-Benz does. But anyways, that about rounds out this review, guys. Let me know what you think of the G70 in the comments section below. Feel free to follow me on social media if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel. After all, do appreciate you guys watching more than you know. I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.